Okay, gang, today we're going to talk about how the shape of a position versus time graph can qualitatively tell you about the motion of an object. So we're going to be using this moving man to demonstrate some situations and to identify how the graph for a position versus time graph is related to his motion. So let's start off by saying that this moving man is not going to be moving at all. What do you think the graph for moving man will look like? Notice if moving man is not moving at all, what happens is his position does not change over time. And what happens is you get a completely horizontal line for your position versus time graph. This is showing us that moving man is not moving at all. Because slope tells us the velocity, this object has no slope because it has no velocity. For our next example, let's assume that moving man is starting at a position of -5 meters and is moving forward with a constant velocity of 2 meters per second. What do you think the graph will look like for moving man in this situation? Notice because moving man started at a position of -5 meters, the graph is actually starting 5 meters below the origin. Its y-intercept is a value of -5. Also notice that you have a straight line, showing that moving man is moving at a constant velocity. Further, notice that that line has a positive slope. Because he has a constant positive slope, he has a straight diagonal line oriented in the positive direction. For our next example, let's say that moving man is going to start at rest and accelerate in the positive direction. What do you think the graph will look like for moving man this time? Notice for this graph, we have a fairly horizontal line when we start. That is to show that the moving man is not moving initially. The slope is very small to begin with, but over time, the line becomes steeper and steeper and steeper. That is because moving man's velocity is increasing, and since the slope tells us the velocity, the slope should be increasing over time as well. Furthermore, notice that the slope is positive the entire time, showing that he is moving in the positive direction the entire time. Now let's suppose we have a situation where a moving man is moving forward initially and is slowing down as he comes to a stop. What do you think the graph will look like now? As you can see, the slope starts off pretty steep because he is starting to he's moving initially. And as time goes on, the slope becomes less and less steep until eventually the slope actually flattens out to show that he is no longer moving. So if an object is slowing down, it should start off with a steep slope showing that there is some velocity, and as time goes on, the slope decreases until the object eventually comes to a stop.